Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. It's December, it's Advent, and World of Warships, of course, came around and threw my plans off for this week by putting out the new Blitz pack thing, pass, whatever. And one thing I figured is that, at least personally, really irritates me, is that you can't really see what the stats of the ship are, the premium ship that you get as part of the Blitz package, the pass thing, whatever it's called. So I figured I'd take one for the team and see what's actually in there, because, you know, you can't look at it unless you actually purchase the whole thing. This is the Exeter. She is a Tier 5 British heavy cruiser. The historic Exeter was having quite an interesting story about her. Because first, she was actually part of a group of cruisers that was attacking the Admiral Graf Spee, the Tier 6 German super heavy cruiser pocket battleship thing. And one of her shells actually led to the Graf Spee having to be scuttled eventually after the Battle of the River Plate. Well, the Exeter took some beating in that as well, but she survived and went on to fight the Japanese in the South Pacific. And she got eventually citadeled by a Japanese heavy cruiser, which put her engines out of commission pretty much. And then the next day, the same thing happened again, and then she got torpedoed, and then she sunk. But, well, she was certainly putting up a fight. Easy to citadel, though, apparently. What is that like in the game? Now, we haven't seen any British heavy cruisers. We've only seen British light cruisers and British battleships so far. Again, we're at Tier 5. She's got 21,000 hit points, which is not a huge amount, but she also doesn't have a huge amount of armor. So heavy cruiser really just by caliber of the guns. The armor plating seems to be relatively comparable to the British light cruiser line, which means she is somewhat squishy. So don't be fooled by the bigger guns. She's quick, relatively quick with over 30 knots. She is relatively maneuverable with just under 7 seconds in my setup. And, well, I said heavy cruiser, so she has 203mm guns. It's a bit like an Aoba, really, or a Furitaka, really. She's got 6 guns, 2 super-firing forward turret and an aft turret. Range of about 10 kilometers is decent. And they do a surprisingly good amount of armor-piercing damage, plus a decent amount of high explosive, plus a decent fire chance. So these are fun guns. Now, you'll see in-game that the armor-piercing penetration isn't great. And again, we're at Tier 5. You don't usually get heavy cruisers at Tier 5. Now, what you get at Tier 5 and Tier 4 and Tier 6 is lots and lots and lots of very lightly armored light cruisers. Om nom nom. Yeah, you can citadel the crap out of these things with the armor piercing if you get into a decent range. She also gets torpedoes, classic British torpedoes. So you get the single spread launch, 2 triple launchers, so a lot less than, say, I think it's the... What's the British light cruiser at Tier 5? Let me have a quick look. What was it? It's not the Leander, that's at Tier 6. It's the Emerald, yes, it's the Emerald at Tier 5. So she does get less torpedoes, or fewer torpedoes, but again, they're single launch. They've got a 6.3 kilometer range, and they're decently quick to reload. She has a somewhat respectable anti-air for Tier 5 with 90 and 71. Better than the Emerald for sure. And she actually has a surprisingly good concealment. So I've got the surface detection down to just over 7 kilometers. She's a relatively stealthy ship, but she's got a decent firepower. And she has a smoke generator. So she gets 2 charges of the smoke and 2 precise aiming for long range gunnery. So that smoke generator makes it possible for her to be relatively aggressive, even though she has poor armor protection and relatively little health. And the guns don't reload that quickly. I got it down to just under 10 seconds. Plus, she doesn't have the huge amount of torpedoes, so she doesn't actually have the highest DPM really, but she can get into a cap circle, for example, and then smoke up and relatively successfully hold that cap against enemy ships. In terms of equipment, I have put the main battery mod 2 in here because the turret traverse actually, oh, let me show you that first. The turret traverse actually comes from the elite bonus with the advanced turret, which increases the main battery traverse speed by 20%, which gets us to, where are we at? 9.6 degrees. And that's good enough. So I didn't have to use the equipment slot for that, because you are in a relatively nimble ship. You will have to dodge shots because you don't have the armor to tank anything. So the turret traverse was kind of a must for me, but since I had it from the elite bonus, I could use the main battery mod to get the reload down to just under 10 seconds. I've got the propulsion mod because I do play her aggressively, even though I kind of play her like a light cruiser, just with bigger guns, really. I do like to play her aggressively, so propulsion mod is good for torpedo dodging, and the steering mod is also quite necessary to make her turn quickly enough. I actually have the hit points modification in here, which makes sense because, well, again, she's quite squishy. I've got the crew rations for reload and the diesel for speed and traverse. My commander is, now this is an interesting one. This is actually the first British cruiser, the British premium cruiser. So she's actually relatively well qualified as a commander trainer for the British cruiser line. So I actually have my Mr. Adrian Allen from the Minotaur switching over and being on Exeter duty. Now it's not 100% fit, because, for example, on the main line you wouldn't want to have the marksman skill, and that would have been kind of nice on the Exeter. But other than that, like you get Mistweaver and all the necessary and important skills. So it's I'd say if you want to train up a commander for the British light cruiser line, just make sure you're not picking the marksman, because you don't get precise aiming on any other cruiser. Other than that, it's a really nice fit. So what else do you get out of that? What is it really called? Blitz Pass. Yeah, that was the thing. Blitz Pass. So you get the Exeter pretty much, well, right out of the box if you purchase it. Other than that, there are, I think, a couple of, well, it's the usual stuff with portraits and keys and shenanigans, a bit of gold here and there, more keys. You do get some of the shipyard resources here. So you get a bit of copper here, and I think there was a bit of steel somewhere there as well. Maybe further towards the end. Yeah, there was. There's more copper and more steel. Anyway, so if you haven't seen it yet, the shipyard's over here in the shop. There's the shipyard, and you have two tier 8 and a tier 9 premium ship for purchase using these special resources. Are you required to purchase the Blitz Pass to get enough resources to buy these ships? I don't think so. I think it'll accelerate it a little bit. And there isn't a huge amount in there. It accelerated a little bit, but I don't think you're necessarily required to do that. I think it'll just take a bit longer. And I mean, honestly, what have I got so far? I've got 1 copper. Only 49 more to go until I can get something for it. So I'm not stressing about this one. And I think you can get there in free to play eventually if you have the patience for it. The Blitz Pass isn't going to get you there instantly either. So again, it's a question of, do you think it's worth it? And that is entirely up to you to decide and to see if, well, I'm just kind of showing you what you get for it, because that is relatively hard to find out otherwise, to help you make an informed decision if that's something you want to do. So without further ado, let's go get into battle. Okay, it looks like we're top tier. There's a carrier in play, Texas, Wyoming, Phoenix, Svetlana, and 2 DD. So a very well mixed enemy team, and the same on our side. 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, 2 destroyers, 1 carrier. Perfect. I'm playing Golden Channel. So let's see where we spawn. Okay, we spawn here. So it's our right flank that we're going down to see what we can do there.
Action stations.
Now you see the turret traverse speed isn't terrible with the 20% increase from the premium, from the elite bonus. And torpedoes, yeah, you only get 3 torps each side, but they are single mounted and they get a 6.3 kilometer range, so you can do, well, you can do some damage with it, but the guns are really where the fun's at. So I'm gonna go close to the island and see what we can achieve here. So our carrier scouting. What we really want here is the carrier scouting the destroyers at this point. That would be lovely. Okay, 1 destroyer is in the cap. I know that because we're not capping and there's only one of our ships now. Both destroyers are in the cap because they are capping. So I'm going to slow down here and see if we can actually get the DD spotted. Are they pushing or are they just sitting? Oh, there comes a Phoenix.
Target locked.
Okay. Let's see what we can do at 4 kilometer range against the Phoenix.
Nice.
I'm just going to send a widespread out to him. I'm not sure he knows yet what the Exeter can do.
Precise aim activated.
Getting semi-pens. It's probably got torpedoes away. So high explosive, yeah, there come the torpedoes. I knew they were coming. These are gonna miss. What else have we got around here? Oh, the Phoenix is still there. So let's see what else we can do to him.
Torpedoes.
Not the greatest penetrations with the armor piercing. It might start to make sense to switch over to the high explosive, which is surprising. I've had better experiences with them, but well, he's busy, and we can just keep unloading into him. I would have liked to see a citadel here. Let's switch over to the high explosive, get into the cap, and start smoking up, and see if we can set that Texas on fire. So that was a light cruiser. I would have kind of expected a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Double fire. Now he's damage conning that. Let's keep an eye on who's coming closer, if anyone's coming closer, and then keep an eye on our smoke timer. Now again, the reload isn't super fast because, yeah, these are heavy cruiser guns. Okay, does anybody want to capture, maybe? Can we get anyone to capture, please? Because we've... come on, people.
Capture the target area.
Okay, can I get... I really don't like to be broadsiding the Texas at the same time. Okay, there we got 1 fire. Okay, Svetlana is out of range. Let's see if we can do away with these destroyers at least. Oh yeah, that's the reason you don't want to do that, because she hurts. She hurts. Now let's navigate out of here, not ignore the Svetlana. And we're gonna have to back that up a little bit. My smoke's almost off cooldown. I'm gonna smoke up again and see if we can. These torps should hit the Texas. And see if we can get that thing sunk before she does away with us. And always keep an eye on the Svetlana. We're really helping if our team actually decided that they wanted to capture. Okay. Yeah, come on. You have to die before I can get out of this smoke here. Okay, that thing's down. I'm going to switch to armor piercing for a start. And see what we can do against the Svetlana. I have only played her about 3 times at this point, so I'm not super familiar with the guns yet. Alright, that's better. So, oh, there's an Okhotnik as well. Just keep firing in the general direction of these people. Very short range torpedoes, so I don't really have to be afraid of those. What's that Okhotnik doing? Just in case. Okay, let's repair again. Can we get the Svetlana? Not quite. What, so Kotnik AFK? Oh, I should have fired him single spread if he's AFK. Okay. Torps out. Don't need much damage against the Svetlana. Oh, he's firing at me from behind. Or is he playing dead? I don't trust this. Oh, we do very respectable AP damage against destroyers. Look at that. We're at point blank. And I'm doing full pens. So the AP is not having a super great penetration. She is okay. We need that Svetlana dead, and even then, it's probably not going to be enough, unless we're sinking. No, it's I think we pretty much lost this. So the AP is not extremely punchy.
Our team captured the area.
But she is quite useful against. Oh, come on, destroyers! I can get this guy. Come on, come on, come on. Oh no, he's turning out. Don't turn out. Come on, dispersion. There we go. Okay, at least that one's down still. Well, the AP isn't super punchy, but good chance of fire. So high explosive is a valid choice. AP actually works very well against destroyers. So must have a relatively low muzzle velocity on these things. And yeah, the torpedoes are useful. The smokes are useful. And as you can tell in general, some teams you just can't carry. As you can tell in general, she's a viable ship. You can attack battleships with this thing. You can deal with other cruisers. I was a bit disappointed with the damage against the Phoenix. I've had games where I had 2-3 citadels against light cruisers with this thing. Might have been unlucky, I don't know, but it worked well. It worked much better against the Svetlana. So yeah, she's an entry-level heavy cruiser, and it's kind of like with the Furataka at tier 5. You've got the bigger guns, but you have to kind of know how to use them because they are entry-level heavy cruiser guns. They're not as punchy as the later 200 mils, but the combination of speed, maneuverability, good damage output, and actually with these guns, firing AP at destroyers seems to be a relatively good choice. Good damage output and torpedoes, smokescreen, these things together means you can deal with destroyers, even though you don't have the rapid fire, but you do still have torps and you have guns that hurt. You've got the smokescreen and you've got the fire chance and the torps to deal with battleships, like that Texas there. And yeah, if you will not, unless other than the Furataka, you won't face any other heavy cruiser at this tier. So you do have a slight gun advantage over the light cruisers, even though you only have 6 guns to bear, but you're at tier 5. So it's a good ship. It's a fun ship so far. I've been very successful with her, and she's definitely an enjoyable ship. Is she a must-have? Of course not. No premium ship is a must-have in this game. You're not going to be any better or worse because you're sailing a premium ship. It's all down to your skill. For me, what makes a premium ship interesting is if she's unique in some way. And the unique factor for her, of course, is to have 200 mil guns at tier 5. She's only the second ship in the game that gets that. So, yeah, I'm not regretting that one. But, of course, again, the choice is entirely up to you. And I'm just really here to show you what it is that you're getting for your money if you decide to spend it. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody. And the episode that I actually had scheduled for this week is probably just going to get delayed until next week. But we'll get to it. Don't worry. I just have to shuffle things around a little bit. Okay, see you, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.